Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and of YouTube. Welcome to Jibber Jabber. I am your host, as always, Skajaramas, otherwise known as Tone Shift. And with me today, we have a full house of 6 other people besides myself. Starting off, we shall go with the author of Change, the author of Soaring on Little Wings, Change Queen of the Hive, which I, relatively recently got back into, as well as just a good friend and the co-author on many Idiosyverse stories, Tom117Z.
I have my head warmer back.
Indeed. And speaking of his head warmer, just standing around there being tiny and spouting all the memes, or maybe 50% of them, because we have 2 meme lords, we have Small Tux.
Sup? I'm back.
Yeah, bitches.
True meme lord.
Standing deep in the background and glaring into your soul, we have Paladin.
Sup?
Mm-hmm. Staring in vague disapproval into the side of Paladin's head, we have Patrick, Soviet Starfish.
Excuse me, gentlemen. I'd like to interest you in a new commune, and it's guaranteed to fail.
You kind of cut out there for me, but...
That's what I thought it.
I didn't see her.
Discord was censoring him.
Next up, joining Tom over in the British corner, we have Darkness.
Hello, everybody. Good to be back again.
Yep. And watching all of this madness from overhead, maybe being vaguely disappointed, maybe being vaguely fascinated, or just something, I don't know, we have Crow.
Hi. Everyone seems to hate the bird.
I don't. Welcome back.
We are a pony-only
the word.
society. Yay for racism. Wait, what?
I mean, seagulls are the rats of the ocean, so...
Oh, well, I'm not a seagull. So
He's a
thank you,
crow.
sir.
Using Matthias the Talk Crow.
Technically, they're the British version, like the poor man's version of a vulture. They just swoop overhead, try and pick off a carcass, but nowhere near as intimidating.
What's funny is you can actually teach crows English.
As long as he doesn't poke me, I'm happy. And not to mention, I just remembered of that crow that said "fuck you" to that random bloke.
I mean, all's well and good as well.
With my luck,
Trying to run away
Say,
fox.
and just fuck off. Honestly, that's my luck.
It's less learning English and more of a parrotish mimic.
Yeah.
I wonder where that crow got that potty mouth from.
It might have just been a coincidence, who knows?
Yeah.
They're
You
saying,
teach your crow to go to Ben and tell him you're an idiot every time.
they're
It's not how
saying-
well timed it was. Should I pet him?
No, he's got a big
There must
fucking
be-
beak, he'll bite me. Fuck you!
He understands the word pet. And he don't like it.
Yeah.
Right.
Crows can actually speak in Doctor Who. If I recall, that was a thing they could do. The only reason that they say they use their usual cawing noise because they're actually saying "doctor" over and over again. Of course they are.
Because Moffat had to make the Doctor fucking, like, God.
Well, I mean, he sort of is to a lot of people. But really, he's just an idiot in a box.
Yeah, I know, but, Moffat kind of overdid it a bit, I think. But anyways.
Well, that's kind of also why at one point, like, one of Clara's copies erased the actor's memory of him.
I say Doctor Who always does go over the top in every season it's ever done.
Yeah. So, how's everyone's week been?
Good.
It's been okay.
Sorry.
Pretty fantastic.
My week so far has been great, but the week coming up is going to suck because I got moved to a different shift at work, and I have to go in. I have to get up at 4 in the morning and be there by 5.
Yeah, that does suck.
I sprained my ankle.
You have my sympathy.
Yeah.
It's all fun and games. You roll your ankle and can't walk on it for 3 days.
It's-
I was in the middle of a tennis tournament and freaking it was all foggy and crap that day. So all the moisture got on the metal poles that surround the courts. And eventually that moisture falls to the ground. And so in the back of the course there's all these puddles. In the middle of my match, I freaking went on a slip and slide during my match and sprained my ankle.
Ouch.
Ouch.
Oof.
Yeah. It's all.
Yeah. And I found a sign that said "slippery when wet." No shit.
That's what wet does to things. And you know, it's all fun and games until you try to jump from one tree branch to another, but the branch you're jumping from breaks, so then you fall down, bounce off of several trees, and then crack open your flank on the roots of the second tree.
Yeah, look on the right side. It could have been golf during an electric storm.
Golf ball gets hit by a lightning bolt. I could see that happening.
Am I missing something?
No, not really.
I say the biggest news I announced to people. I'm pretty much putting Magic on hiatus since I want to do other stuff like DMD.
Literally no one here knew you played Magic the Gathering, I think, so I certainly didn't. And no one in the audience did, because this is their sole interaction with you, mostly.
I know.
So no one knew you played Magic the Gathering, so that whole announcement means jack shit to them.
Well, we did mention it at one point, but that was the time when the Wi-Fi conked out a bit a few times. When I used that to prep.
Well, as I was saying, in Darkness, in most of our defense is we're usually working at our jobs during the main week. So,
I mean, I usually just do it on weekends, so you know.
I like to be the sort of person who likes to hang around with quite a friendly community.
Oh yeah.
Interestingly enough, that thing I mentioned a minute ago about jumping from branches and falling and hurting oneself, yeah, that happens in the next chapter bug in the basement.
Oh.
Oh, God dang it. Prologue.
Oh, don't worry. The reading is like 30 chapters away from what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I should be able to start getting Patreon again after my next check.
Oh yeah, speaking of Patreon, freaking Skajarmas pinged me during my tournament.
How was I supposed to know you were in the middle of a thing? I had no way of knowing that.
I was switching over. I was switching courts. And I took a look at my phone to check the time. Next thing you know, Skajarmas, I see Skajarmas' little pony face profile pic, and I'm like, and he goes, "By the way, your Patreon done fucked up." I'm like, "Thanks."
You done fucked up now, boy.
It's okay. He sent me the same message.
Well, yeah, because for you guys and like one other person, it did fuck up.
Yeah,
pals were declined.
With the sprained ankle, trying to get home.
Well, I didn't know. I had no way of knowing that you would hurt yourself. If I had known, I would have asked, "Are you okay? Do you need to talk about it?"
Yes, because I need therapy sessions.
The only thing fucked
If you're
up for
hurting
me
yourself,
so far
yeah.
with Patreon. For some reason, the app locked
Bro,
me out.
Freaking
Yeah, logged me out at random.
Honestly, the latest message I got from you, Tone, is back in 2019 when you're telling me to, hey, Jib Jab is starting.
Yeah, that was a month ago.
Poke. Yeah,
what's worse is that my coach made me take this. If I can get it, what the hell?
I don't know. But we've managed to kill about 8 minutes, just random fuckery. Okay, cool. But anyways, we do actually have a couple of topics that we arranged in advance for today. Not as many as we would like, and as there was no Final Fantasy D6 this week, there is no Final Fantasy D6 recap we can use to kill the first half hour, so yeah, we might have to go into a long stint of improvisation at the end here. But
yeah,
for now, let's go ahead and launch into topic 1, which was something that I believe Soviet wanted to do a ways back but didn't get to. He wanted to tell more stories from the Marines, like his buddy in the Marines. And I remember we had a lot of fun with that last time, so fuck it, why not?
Hey, tales from the U.S. military.
Yes.
And the British gets to make fun of you.
We all get to make fun of us.
Navy.
Shut up. We don't talk about the Navy. So a bit of context for someone.
Screw you. We have a ship called Boaty McBoatface.
That's just because your country's stupid. Now shut up and let me tell my story.
Oh, what happens when you vote it? But
Come on.
Listen here, you little shit.
The British have a sense of humor, and I like it.
The British.
oh, we're just dicks to our government.
Anyways, your story. Continue.
So this is a little context for people who are watching this and didn't watch the last time I told these stories. I have a friend in the Marines who is a reservist, and apparently he has the worst luck possible when it comes to the unit that he has, because every time he goes off somewhere to do some sort of training or anything, the story is always the same. Something that shouldn't happen fucked up, and he's caught in the middle of it. Like, for instance, his infamous Humvee incident.
Did you tell us about that?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Oh,
this is the one I'm telling now.
Okay. I'm all ears.
The Humvee incident. Basically, when they were training to do foot and mobile patrols, this was a couple of months back when he got promoted to his squad lead, because his squad lead became their company lead. So he's in the head Humvee with his RTO to his left, you know, a couple of guys in the back plus the gunner for the 50 cal up top, and they park on top of a hill. They don't know what happened, but combat lock on the Humvee initiated. If you don't know what a combat lock is, it basically shuts down the ability for any of the doors and hatches on the Humvee to open, and it locks down the vehicle so that it can't move. They essentially broke it, and the vehicle malfunctioned, and everyone's just stuck in the Humvee sitting around. So they grab the radio, they call for another squad to bring up an engineer to fix their Humvee so that they could get out of it. And they said, okay, we could get an engineer up to you guys, but it's going to take like 40 minutes. And, you know, they're like, okay, this is no big problem. We can just sit here for 40 minutes, no problem. And then the gunner, who is sitting in the back, just in between the two guys in the back seat, all they hear is a low grumble sound come from him. And then you can guess where this is going.
Oh no.
Oh, buggers me.
Oh no.
So,
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
basically,
That boy ate Taco Bell. He ate them frijoles.
basically, a few seconds after, they just hear him rip ass in the back seat for a solid 10, maybe 15 seconds.
Oh. Oh my God.
In a vehicle that doesn't have windows that roll down, and all of the doors and hatches are locked in place.
Oh God.
That moment when your tank becomes a gas chamber.
Oh.
Exactly. But here's the thing: it didn't. The smell didn't hit them at first because they heard it. No one smelled anything, and they're just like, "Okay, maybe it's not that bad." So they just went back to sitting around. And then all of a sudden, my friend who's sitting in the front passenger seat hears the guys behind him start screaming, and one of them is taking the buttstock of his rifle and bashing it against the bulletproof window, trying to break it.
Imagine
and then
So how did you win the war?
Imagine a field
Just a
report
bit.
like saying, "Sir, how many casualties do we have?"
five.
Holy shit, get us the fuck out of
But,
this
like-
gas chamber.
A
Here's the
Humvee in
thing.
all life in a mile-wide radius. They were killed by poison.
Ma'am, your husband after that died.
Was your friend declared a bioweapon?
No, but continuing with the story, it still hadn't hit him yet, And as soon as he hears them start screaming, the smell hit him. And he described it as a smell so bad he wanted to die. So he grabbed his M249 that he had sitting between his lap, and he's bashing the paratrooper stock against the window, trying to break it.
Why didn't they just open the damn hatch?
Because it's combat lock. The combat lock malfunctioned. All the hatches, doors, and everything that could open on the vehicle is rendered useless.
Sir,
it will not open.
Attention. We're gonna have a quiz on this later.
Exactly, but they're sitting like that for the rest of the time it takes the engineer to pull up, and then there was a problem because apparently whatever they did to fuck up the combat lock fucked it up so bad they couldn't disengage it, so they had to disassemble the Humvee doors to get them off. While they are still sitting in there trying to break out. Like he admitted it. So what? Live ammo on you. He said, if my sidearm would have had actual bullets in it, I probably would have fucking shot myself.
Oh, God.
Oh, my.
That's awful.
Sir, we have casualties.
The Humvee incident. Another story he had is for the Marines, you have martial arts training. And like real world martial arts, you have different belt levels. You can get up to your black belt, and then you can go past black belt to the levels that the instructors have to have in order to teach them. So, he wants to get all the way through all of the martial arts training. That way he because it can tie into him getting bonus money from the Marine Corps and all of that. But basically, the way he did that was apparently one weekend, in order to go through several levels, they had this thing called the pit. And it's just this little circular dug-in arena that everyone gathers around, and two people go in, and the person who wins the first fight doesn't leave until they lose.
Huh. All right.
You have fight night.
He apparently, out of his entire company, he got through about 14, maybe 15 people. Then the second in command for his company stepped in, and apparently from his description, this guy is 6'3" and like 250 pounds of pure muscle, and he's 5'11", 150 pounds.
Jesus,
he kicked that guy's ass, and then the next guy kicked his ass. He kicked the second in command for his company, and then the guy after him came in and mopped the fucking floor with him.
Oh.
Like, he described it of, okay, so the round started, we heard 3, 2, 1, and then I was on the floor.
Obviously, it's magic.
He tapped his Earthshake card. I don't fucking know. I don't play Magic.
Apparently, there's a sergeant in his unit that's a female, and she's on the same level of martial arts as him. So they frequently spar together to kind of try and see who's better at fighting. It goes about 50% of the time. Although, fun thing is, when they were having their Christmas party, this was something that he told me. Apparently, the woman that he spars with, someone grabbed her by the ass and she roundhouse kicked them so hard that she knocked his ass out for like 20 hours.
Oh,
like he was fucking dead.
Damn.
Boy got clapped.
And this is what happens if someone grabs anyone else's ass.
Damn.
You
Teach
got
you to
knocked
grab
the
that.
fuck out.
This is why you don't grab military ass. You get knocked the fuck out.
This is why you just don't grab ass without permission. It's bound to end badly.
It's
yes,
all about-
especially
No.
when she's trained in martial arts.
Yeah,
She will kill you.
that just makes it worse. Yeah.
Tone.
Good on ya.
Oh,
You don't ask. You just never do it.
Well, I mean, if you're about to have sex, I mean, there's an assumed level of ass grabbing that's going to be happening there. I'm assuming.
Okay, you got me there.
oh. So, apparently, this is one last little thing that he told me because recently I haven't got any more stories from it yet. I still need to ask if he has any interesting ones. But he went to go do cold weather training up in New Jersey last week for an entire week. And apparently the last day, they were all at the firing range, you know, just brushing up on marksmanship, testing weapons to make sure the weather didn't fuck them up or anything. And apparently they had a bus out there that they were supposed to get on immediately afterwards and start heading back to Ohio, where they were all located. And the bus got stuck in sand at the range. So they call up an army unit to bring over their 7-ton truck to pull the bus out of the sand. The truck got stuck in the sand. So they had to call another Marine unit to then bring a second 7-ton truck
Did
to
that
pull
get stuck
the
too?
truck and the bus out of the sand.
If you failed once, try and try again.
Did I ever tell you
This is
the
what we call
definition
the
of
dominoes of
insanity?
stupidity.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
Yep.
Did I ever tell you the definition of...
Silence? No, I don't think you ever did.
Fuck off. Hello, welcome to the regularly scheduled program where my mic out every so often.
Yep. Usually,
Mic out.
usually we can fill in the blanks just fine most times, but it's still fun to poke fun at it. Sorry.
Yes.
Just like how we keep calling you
That
Patrick against your will.
It's hard to fill in the
That
blanks
last
when the
round
man in question isn't here.
But anyways, those are the stories that I have from him. Although he did tell me in July he gets to spend the entire month training in the Mojave Desert, and he has confirmed that every chance he get, he will use the line from New Vegas. You know, patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter.
I wish
Someone's gonna
He's gonna die.
I wish I had played it.
Yeah, someone's gonna roundhouse kick him.
I wish I'd played enough of Fallout New Vegas to hear that line, but I just could not get into it. The gunplay was too shitty.
Yeah.
What?
You're talking about sacred text.
Fallout New Vegas didn't exactly have very good gunplay. It was stiff as hell, and the guns didn't feel like they had any punch. That's just a simple fact.
Finally, after 15 long years of searching, the Scroll of Truth. Fallout New Vegas has the first gameplay of the entire Fallout
I'm just
franchise.
so grateful.
Yay!
That
No, the Scroll of the Truth has Boar on it. We've established this long ago. So I have the proof.
There's two people that agree.
I mean, Fallout 4 may have been a step back for the whole franchise in a lot of ways, but at least its gunplay was really fucking good. No one can deny
Right,
that.
because
without
they
having
had
their head
id
down.
Software.
I mean,
The hit
in my
developers
opinion-
behind Doom.
In my opinion, Fallout New Vegas is a lot better than Fallout 3.
I mean, it was a step up in terms of the gunplay, but that doesn't change the fact that the gunplay was still unsatisfying and clunky and kind of boring as hell.
You still require VATS for like 90% of your...
Yeah, and I hate using VATS in that. I want to actually aim myself, but I can't do that if the aiming mechanics are total piss.
Yep. And one of the reasons why I didn't like Fallout Vegas that much. For some strange reason, when I go to a certain area where those Roman pretentious people are, it kept bloody crashing my game.
Oh, well, that's just because it was on the
fucking
Gamebryo engine. There's nothing you can do about that.
Right.
There is a thing you could do about that. It's called get it on Xbox.
It was on Xbox.
What? I never encountered that
It
issue.
is the Gamebryo engine. If it exists on any platform, it is going to fuck itself routinely. It is an unavoidable fact of nature. Gamebryo is trash. Bethesda needs to let it go.
Let it go.
Or at the very no. I only had the last time I heard that was a few weeks ago when I was playing Kingdom Hearts 3, and even then it was too fucking soon. Stop.
You violated the law.
Do not put me through that again.
Stop. You violated the law.
I mean, hang on, we're going to improv here for a minute because I got to rant about this for a second.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Especially since the craze is flaring back up because Frozen 2 got announced.
Oh dear fucking God.
Which why is it
No.
Okay. So, Frozen. All things considered, I liked it as a movie, and I liked the songs. I just didn't like having to listen to them in the context of the movie. That always takes me out of it. I've explained why on that front many times. The song "Let It Go" definitely catchy and a lot of fun. It was overhyped to shit. You want to? I mean, you want to know how I heard about Frozen? How I learned it was a movie that existed? In high school, someone who was walking by me and one of my friends when we were having lunch was just randomly humming the tune to themselves, and suddenly the person I was with suddenly stands up, starts screaming the lyrics at them, and they start singing together, and I'm just sitting here like, I have no idea what's happening. And then as soon as I said something that was along those lines, as soon as I expressed confusion, they looked at me as if I had just professed the most profound form of blasphemy and heresy. And I received an earful from my friend about the fact that you need to watch Frozen, but you need to fucking watch it. You need to watch it. Okay. So then I went home and I watched it and I liked it, but I think a lot of people take that song and the movie itself a bit too seriously.
Definitely.
It's a good movie and the music's great. I'm not denying that. I just think that people get a bit too excited for it. And then it just got shoehorned into Kingdom Hearts 3. And then there was that moment where Anna was having to awkwardly talk over herself, singing "Do You Want to Build a Snowman?" It was like I had to mute the game at that point because it was giving me a headache. Disney,
yeah.
I get that you love this IP and the music in it, and a lot of people do too. But come on, guys. At the risk of sounding repetitive and maybe kind of ironically poetic, let it go. Follow your own advice.
They made a joke about that in Zootopia, if I recall, saying that the chief of police character in that movie, Bogo, was saying life isn't a fairy tale where you run around, save the princess, and get happy ever after. So let it go.
And that's why
I've seen the movie a grand total of once.
Yeah,
God damn it, Disney.
And that's why I really liked Zootopia. For one thing, there weren't any songs sung by the characters in the middle of intense or serious situations where songs had no right existing. It was actually kind of a serious movie while still having a lot of charm and humor. It was gorgeous as hell, and it carried an important message, and it wasn't afraid to poke fun at itself.
Which I was a bit worried this movie could have been a disaster, but luckily they managed to clear it up because it did remove quite a lot of scenes from it, mostly the darker scenes.
Well, you mean the original plotline of Pegasus being enslaved with shot collars?
You hear that, Darkness? You got banned.
In that movie, in the original draft of the movie, which you can actually see some animatics, Judy was initially going to be the main antagonist until about halfway through, where she has a redemption arc.
Yep.
Yeah, like
Nick
was the main character initially, as I recall.
Yeah, there's a half-finished scene of her chase, like the old Rodentia chase scene. There's a half-finished scene of her chasing Nick through and shooting at him.
I mean, I still like the movie in general.
It's really good. I liked it.
Little
the
rapid.
thing that was a bit tedious was the song at the end being all pop star like, but you can't avoid that.
I mean, that was the very end of the movie. And all the rest of it aside from, I mean, the villain was kind of disappointing because she came out of fucking nowhere, but the rest of it was really good. And I enjoyed
I
it
like
also.
the first. Also, the music at the end actually makes sense. Unlike most Disney movies, the music at the end made sense because it was a freaking concert.
Yeah, it was a
And they were
concert that had already been established as a thing that existed earlier in the movie, so it actually had some contextual reason for being there. Unlike a lot of like musical numbers at the end of movies, like. I mean, no offense to Shrek or anything. I love that franchise, but like the weird musical numbers that happen at the end of the first two movies don't make any fucking sense. This is a medieval fantasy setting. Where the hell did they get the instruments necessary to do those songs? Where?
It wasn't
How?
in cover songs until I found out in the sequel. Oh my goodness me! It's fairy tale Hollywood.
To be fair,
Even have a freaking Starbucks.
the only good thing to come out of the Shrek movies was that cover of "Holding Out for a Hero." Don't even fucking come at me and say that isn't good, because you're objectively wrong.
I mean, yeah, that wasn't.
I mean, they got the
cover,
original actor
but
of
I hate
Zorro
the
to
scene
play
that it
Puss in
comes
Boots, which
from.
is interesting.
I mean, yeah, I definitely liked that cover of that song, even if that song isn't really my cup of tea. Most mainstream music isn't. I prefer instrumental orchestral stuff any day, but yeah, it was good.
She has the vocals for it.
Indeed.
I need a hero.
Stop it.
Don't.
I'm just gonna stop you right there, Chief.
Down, boy.
Just know that you're not the only one that does.
Yeah,
I just like her reaction when she found out she had to do a song for it, because apparently she'd never sing before and she was a bit worried that she may muck it up or feel
I don't
embarrassed.
know what you're
doing it.
talking about. That doesn't sound like Shrek, but okay.
I meant the voice actor that played the evil
Oh,
fairy.
okay. The voice actress.
That's
not
what
the
Mole
Yeah,
takes.
the
The fairy godmother.
Well, your first attempt, well done, I suppose.
character. Yeah, well, I mean, like, well, I know for a fact I'm never going to be doing any singing in my voice acting work. Trust me, you don't want to hear me trying to sing.
I can help you.
It'll become Humvee Incident Mark II, except your ears are bleeding instead of your nostrils.
Now I'm just imagining you trying to sing Lullaby for a Princess.
Oh God,
Yeah.
nope.
I can help you.
No, I
Don't
refuse.
sing.
I do not enjoy singing anyway, so I'm not gonna.
No, I can.
I mean, hell, trust me. The one time I actually tried to sing in a reading, I decided it was I decided it was shit, and so I scrapped all of the takes I took for trying to sing and just replaced it with a sound clip from the show, because at least that was worth a damn.
Yeah.
I cannot
What's
sing.
that?
I don't like singing. I will not sing.
I mean,
I think I actually know what reading you're talking about.
It was the bug in the herd.
Yes.
It was the bug in the herd when Pinkie Pie was giving Chrysalis the greeting when she didn't realize it was Chrysalis.
Oops.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember you also refused to sing the small like single line lyric of this day aria in Change.
Yeah, I just said it. I just said it
Yeah.
in a kind of melodious and sinister way.
I mean, the only thing I say closest to singing I heard would have been a certain chapter.
Of what? I've put hundreds of chapters on my channel. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have to be a bit more specific. What story? What number? Elaborate, Darkness. We can't read minds.
I believe it was Pony Rituals at one point. Oh, I think
Courtship rituals.
Bullshit Rituals. Yeah.
When was there singing in that? I don't.
Well, you could always ask the author because he's right here in the chat.
Yeah, but he doesn't respond to
it's-
anything we ever send him. I'm pretty sure he's tuned all of us out. I kind of hope to get him into
it wasn't-
Jibber Jabber one of these days, but it has never happened. Partly because I think he has some sort of social
I'm not
anxiety.
exactly strong on this. I'm not exactly strong on remembering what the song was. All I know is like a parody cover of that song,
Yeah.
which is going to be one of the strangest songs I've ever come across.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Eh. Yeah. You know, on the note of shit that I've done readings of, I'm trying to give, as I've mentioned probably a few Jibber Jabbers ago and in a Patreon post, I'm trying to give thought to what I'm going to do after I finish the library for 2. One option is to start doing a reading of Tom's other story, A Sparkle in the Darkness.
Darkle.
Sparkle in the Darkle.
Yes.
Darkle, Sparkle, Peter, Parkle.
I saw that conversation.
What?
Peter Parkle.
Just Darkle, dude.
Yeah.
I just love how that's become a thing, though. We all just call it Darkle now.
You call it Darkle, but
you do as well. You called when you suggested you said Darkle.
Okay, so here's the thing that I'm worried about now. I'm worried that when I'm announcing the name of the story in the reading, that whenever it comes time for me to do it, I'm gonna say the Sparkle in the Darkle, and not the Sparkle in the Darkness, and fuck it up and not catch it until it's too late.
It would be perfect.
It would not.
Just like Twilight itself.
That's a fucking lie, and you know it.
Now listen to you little shit.
Channeling the spirit of blank here, are we?
Step up, bitch.
Yeah. I mean, but alternatively, I'm thinking I might just dedicate the Monday and Tuesday slot, and sometimes Wednesday, to me looking for actual like audiobook contracts, at least for a couple months. Because I still need to go to Everfree Northwest, but money is tight, and I'm getting a bit less than I had been anticipating, and I can't afford it with my current income. So seeking out some additional paying work from actual audiobooks and just devoting Monday and Tuesday several hours each to just recording would probably be a way to go about it. So you never know. We'll see what happens when I finish Library for Two, which will probably be in a couple weeks. Assuming everything goes well, I'm able to record 2 entries this week and next.
Whatever you decide at that point, I'm probably going to be like 10 odd chapters out from finishing Darkle anyway.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Additionally, on the topic of dark shit, I've been in the backdrop writing up a Fluttershy vampire story. You're still not a fan of that concept.
Fucking
no.
Another one.
No, it's the same one as before. I'm just actually doing it now. I'm 3 chapters in. And don't worry, Tom. I'm making sure to include some levity. It's not all doom and gloom.
Good. Probably still won't read it, but good for you, those who do.
We'll see what happens. I'm actually taking a route of actually planning it out in advance and writing it and revising it before I start posting any of it. So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, we do have another topic to get to. We kind of went off topic there for a little bit, but that's fine because we kind of need shit to talk about anyway. Next up, this one was kind of suggested by Crow. Apparently he was in Puerto Rico at one point for a thing. And, he has some stories about it. So, talk about your time in Puerto Rico.
So this is like 3, 4, maybe 5 years back. So me and about 7 other kids, we went and got on a plane trip. We went over to Puerto Rico. Before we did, they stopped us off at Michigan so we could have a little bit of training, and then we went back. Then they sent us all the way to Puerto Rico. But yeah. So the best way for me to tell the story is just to kind of go in order of events. And so the first event that they had us do there was mountain climbing. And doesn't sound so bad, but this particular mountain they had us climbing was steep as shit and covered in cacti.
Ooh.
And we were kind of, antsy, nervous about this because they didn't give us any equipment. We were just going to be walking on, hand on hand, feet up to the top of the mountain. So, so we walked, and one of the girl of the group, she trips and she starts sliding down, and me and the Sergey, we managed to catch her just in time, and literally not 3 inches from her crotch is a cactus.
Oh. You don't want cactus barbs in your minge, that's for sure.
It's one way to wake up.
She refused to climb any higher from that point on, and she and an adult went down. She and one of the adults went down, and the rest of us went up to mountain.
I can't really blame her. Yeah, no, fuck this. I'm going where it's not suicidal.
Yeah. Luckily, there wasn't any incidents beyond that because that would have sucked if it were.
Oh, yeah, that was...
But mountain climbing. Yeah. Once we got to the top, we planted a flag, and then after that, we had to go back down, and the down trip was just as bad. Loose rocks beneath your feet. You're going down. You don't exactly have the best boots or shoes for this, and you're just like, yep, don't want to slip.
What were they thinking?
No idea. And I was like, and then they had to take a 45-minute drive all the way back. And then we had to take a 45-minute drive back to the camp, and then from that we had Puerto Rican frappes, which, by God, are amazing.
I don't know what that is.
Neither do I.
Puerto Rico. Okay, a frappe. You know what a frappe is in America, right?
No.
It's a form of iced coffee drink.
Yeah.
See,
in Puerto Rico, there's no coffee.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee, so.
Yeah, there's no coffee in Puerto Rico. What they do, they get ice. They take fruit, candy, whatever you want. They mash the ice and the fruit together, stir it up, mash it together, and then they serve it with chunks of the fruit or candy that you asked for in it.
Huh.
And it's cold, delicious, and amazing.
Nice.
Hmm.
Kind of interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. It became our regular beverage there because we were like, yeah, fuck this shit. It's hot outside, and this thing's amazing. So whenever they wanted to say, hey, get this done, they said, if you get this done, we'll get you a Puerto Rican frappe, and immediately everybody gets to work.
Bribing kids with food. That's how that works.
But, yeah, the next thing we did was cave. We did a bit of cave exploring kind of thing. It was just a guided trip.
All right, okay, so you say you're all kids. Could we get just like an age range here just so we can gauge how stupid the adults were for bringing a bunch of kids to climb a mountain?
60. I was about 6. I was the other kids are about my age, but all the other kids around us were younger.
So
the group was
teens.
Yeah.
Okay. Because for some reason I was imagining like 8 to 12-year-olds, and I was like, oh my god.
I'm 24, so 5 years back, that's about
Okay. Well, I had no idea how old you were for sure. So.
so that's it's about 18 at the time. So, they take us cave. We go to this cave, and it's for the cave itself. It's just it's fascinating, cool. But it's in the side of a cliff. Okay,
right.
And it goes up the cliff. You enter at the bottom, and you go up. So we finally get to the point, and there's a giant gaping hole, and below it you can see the top of trees. And these are not small trees. These are very tall trees, easily about 2-3 stories tall, maybe even 4. They're really tall trees, and from the exit of that, you can literally look down and see it. Now, if you want to know what's in between the people who are looking at the trees and the trees themselves is nothing. There's no safety rail. There's no guard. You can literally shove someone off and they'd fall.
Who the hell designed this course?
No idea, but I refuse to go anywhere near that hole.
Smart.
And they're like, okay, we're trying to take a picture. Please get closer. I go, I don't want to. Get closer. I don't want to. We'll get a Puerto Rican frappe. Damn it!
Foiled again. Fucking frappe.
You don't understand. It was terrifying to get in here that hole because there literally was nothing to stop anyone from going over. No safety rope, no guardrail. If anyone decided to jump or slip or push someone else, no, you're gone.
I'll be a dead kid.
And then it's like, okay, we stayed there for a while, and then that was all nice. And then we started to head back. and then it starts raining.
Oh God!
That made the trick out a whole lot harder because the thing started. They had to put a rope down just so we could manage the deal because the water started running like this is like at least like a foot of water to your ankles running, maybe a bit higher than your ankles running down. So it's just like trying to get a good footing and climbing out of the cave. They had to give the rope, and even then, everybody else was like, "Well, shit." and the worst part is, we did not get Puerto Rican frappes after that because it was fucking raining.
Oh, so you were bribed, and there was no payoff.
No payoff at all. I was
bamboozled again.
And then, so the purpose of why our group was there was to teach young ones. We were the teachers. Though that was the point. Though the most of them didn't speak a word of English, but we had translators and stuff. And so one of the lessons that were still involved cookies. And so we had all the ingredients still, and we're saying each ingredient represents something, and then you had to mix them. And I was the teacher of that particular class. And then when we finished mixing all the ingredients, I took them and I go, okay, I'm going to go turn these into, I'm going to go bake these. And you can hear all the kids groan because they're like, oh, that's going to take so forever. And what they did not know is that we spent the entirety of last night, wee hours of the morning, baking cookies. So we go back. I go behind. I place down what all the mixtures they just did, and then I grab the cookies, and then walk out, and their eyes are like, "Whoa!" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm amazing. I know. Thank you.
I'm a fucking wizard."
He's a fucking wizard.
Ban him!
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
And
you're a fucking wizard.
And yeah, so that was by far.
I'm Harry.
Harry, you're a fucking wizard.
Several kids.
I'm not a fucking wizard.
Okay, let the British people do their thing for a second.
I think we're done.
Okay. Bird, continue.
But yeah, I was definitely their favorite teacher for the rest of the 2 weeks we were there.
Because you gave them cookies and did a magic trick. It's like Puerto Rico is an island, and of course there's the ocean. And the camp that we were at was right by the ocean. So we got to go swimming a lot, which is fine. But I was the smart guy. I swam with my shirt on. And the reason that's that smart is because, my God, it is hot, humid, and the sun is very oppressive there. And just having sunscreen is not going to help you too much. But so we swam there like every day. But one of my friends, he did not wear his shirt at all. And by the time we were coming back home, his back and belly was as orange, well, not orange, but red as a lobster. Oh.
Like, he was.
Are you feeling it now?
I know the
Mr.
pain.
Krabs.
I know his
Talk
pain.
about an uncomfortable plane ride home.
I know his pain. I do, and it sucks so bad. One time, my entire back became sunburned, and it was so awful. It literally made me scream, and my body would occasionally twitch from how uncomfortable it was. It was legitimately excruciating, and I had to deal with it for days. And I was just a kid.
I wasn't excluded from sunburn. I just didn't get it all over my back and dill. My arms and the back of my neck, they got burned. And by the time I got dill, my skin was as dark as Puerto Rican, and I'm not even fucking joking.
I was
They're like-
glowing like a weird fucking Christmas tree. Light.
They're like, I get home, my mom's like, you're tan, and I'm like, yeah.
I was like,
I was in the sun.
Mother, could we not go to the seaside ever again on Christmas Day on a hot summer's eve?
You know, that for some reason that reminds me. Have I ever told the story to you guys about how I once did a backflop?
Oh, everybody do the flop.
Okay, well, allow me then to tell you this story of my idiotic childhood. Like, I have a lot of stories of just how apparently self-destructive I was as a child, and this is one of them. We have a swimming pool in my town. Not a humongous one, but, you know, it's got a diving board that kind of cycles in and out. You know, they kind of take it in and put it back and take it out here and there, depending on, you know, it kind of cycles whether or not it's open or closed, so that other, like, people who can't dive can safely swim around, right? Well, anyways, I really like going off the diving board. It's a lot of fun, and back then, I was trying to do, like, weird, freaky acrobatic shit every time I did it. I could kind of do a front flip, kind of. I say that because I more landed on my ass rather than doing a full flip. Like it wasn't a graceful flip. I could get the momentum going, but I'd always land on my ankles or on my ass or something. It was never a full, proper, graceful flip. But a bunch of the other kids thought that, you know, it was at least somewhat impressive that someone of my age, because I was under 10, that I was capable of doing, you know, flips of any variety. And then one of them said, "You think you could do a backflip?" And me, little stupid, overconfident, self-absorbed me said, "Oh yeah, totally." So,
oh dear.
You sound like Rainbow. You're impersonating Rainbow Dash there for a moment.
Kinda. So I decided to try it. I got up on the board, and I had my kind of running start. I jumped. I tried to do a backflip, and I just kind of went horizontal.
Oh.
And just kind of kept falling horizontally, and it was about like a half second, and then I realized I have made a terrible mistake. And then I hit the water, like the entire back of my body all at once hit the water. I punctured the surface, and there was and I was blinded and deafened by pain too much to hear this, but apparently there was this really, really, really loud clap and a big splash when I hit the water, and the entire swimming pool, which was packed full of people, went silent. All I zoomed into where I had hit the water, and my mom and dad were like off to the side in the rafters just watching, and they're like, "Oh shit, is he dead?" A lifeguard kind of stood up, a hand going up to his whistle. They're like, and there were like a few, and there was a few seconds of just silence. And then, and for me, underwater, what it basically amounted to is I had hit the water, I was stunned for a second, drifted down a few feet, and then underwater I screamed, so, you know, everyone saw some bubbles coming up, and then I swam back up, breached to the surface, and screamed even louder because it fucking hurt.
You know, that reminds me of a
Yeah, hang on, I'm not done. I'll let you know when I'm done.
Okay.
So I swam back to the edge of the water. I hauled myself out. A lifeguard escorted me over to my parents, and I don't remember if my brother was there or not. If he was probably snickering. But, you know, the parents escorted me home after that. And even though it hurt me greatly, I take some weird form of morbid pride in the fact that I was able to make an entire swimming pool stop like that.
People care about you.
I really should not take pride in the fact that I did that, but I do. But I acknowledge I was a fucking idiot to try and do a backflip when I couldn't even really do a proper front flip. I did a pseudo somersault and clap my ass on the water every time. That is not constitutional grounds to attempt to do a backflip, especially since I didn't understand how motion, momentum, or pendulums worked.
And now I'm gonna need to insert false somewhere. It goes, oh yeah, I made an entire swimming pool stop once.
Skajarma's famous last words. Watch me do this backflip.
Might as well have been. Might as well have been, yeah.
I didn't.
Because I didn't talk the whole rest of the time except to quietly whimper to Mom and Dad, I'm okay, and then we left. And apparently there was this other time, I was over in Idaho visiting my grandparents with my brother, and while we were there, like, we were out in, like, a trail or a park or something, and we were kind of running around, playing, having a good time. At one point, I saw my brother sort of jump over a ledge, and my brother was, like, 5 years older than me. So I saw him make, so I saw him make that jump and land to keep going, and me, being the stupid little shit that I was, thought, I can do that. So I ran to follow him, and apparently from my grandfather's perspective, all that happened is I just kind of ran up to the cliff and just dropped off. and there was this thud, and a cloud of dust came up, and then I started screaming. So, like, okay, he's not dead.
I saw a video once where it was the top of this giant, like, I can't remember, it was like this giant wooden tower or something. Like, it was really fucking high up. Like, easy enough if you fell for it, you'd be a jelly on the ground. Like, the area it was in America somewhere, I think, I don't know, Canada. But the area around was blanketed in a thick layer of snow because it had apparently been snowing so much. It was like a very deep layer of it. Dude fell from the top of the fucking tower all the way down and then landed. You see like a massive cloud of snow be kicked up in the air. A giant crater has formed where he's landed. And then he just gets up and walks away.
Snow broke his fall.
Yeah, he was completely fine.
As for me, and this is a quick one, because it reminded me of it back, years ago. When I was like around 8 or 9, I got pretty too cocky when I was on a trampoline. To be fair, it's the first time I was on a trampoline, and I was just having the time of my frickin' life. And I thought to myself, could I do a jump and a flip in the air? Could I do a backflip? I jumped in the air, but I was going to attempt it, but I felt it wasn't high enough. So I kept jumping and jumping until I get high enough. And then when I got to a suitable amount of height, I went up in the air. I went to do the flip, instead twisted my bloody back. Before I can even have a chance to scream in agony, next thing you know, half of me fell off the trampoline, and between my arm and chest hit the freaking huge metal pole at the side of the trampoline. And I was just in so much pain and agony, I couldn't even scream. I felt like I lost my voice.
You probably had the wind knocked out of you.
Someone get that guy a Puerto Rican Frappes.
I was like that for like an hour and a half until my voice started to come back slowly. It was agonizing pain.
Myth
Every
busted.
moment I lived was agony.
Myth busted. Darkness cannot perform a backflip with the assistance of a trampoline.
No. I just twisted my back and hurt myself even more.
I mean, the one time I did a backflip on the trampoline, I landed, knocked a tooth out. So I got most of the way through a backflip and then failed.
Yeah,
At least you didn't fall through the trampoline.
Here.
Every time I do tricks, other people get hurt.
Okay, so see, here's the thing. One of my 2 front teeth actually has a chip missing from it. And there's and that's because I was leaning down to drink from one of those water fountain faucet thingies that you can supposed to say where you push a button and water comes out. I leaned down into that too quickly and I misjudged the angle because I'm tone shift. I have terrible depth perception and hand-eye coordination. Leaned it down a bit too quickly and I bonked my tooth on the little lip guard thingy that kind of comes up around it. Bonk! I come up and I feel something loose on my. I can spit it out. It's just a chip from one of my front teeth. There's a piece missing from one of my teeth. It is visible. I can peel back my lip, and you can see there's a piece missing.
I'm surprised I didn't knock out all my teeth when I went to help on a playground when I was a fucking kid in my first school.
I think we've all fallen off of slides. I know I've fallen off more than my fair share when I was a kid. I mean,
I
apparently,
yeeted myself off a fireman's pole.
I was running and I didn't do up my laces and I just tripped over my laces and just went face palp into the fucking concrete ground. It was
Once I went down a metal slide in the rare British summer day where it's scorching fucking hot in shorts.
Oh no!
I remember.
It was much pain.
burn like a motherfucker.
I remember when I went to a wrestling clinic to, get my ground game up. And I had an opponent who was 40 pounds heavier than me. Granted, I'm 230. I'm not no slouch. This man was like, oh my gosh. Like, I felt like I was facing Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That's what I felt like I was facing.
I thought you were going to say you felt like The Rock.
Anyway, so on that day, the coach said that we're practicing takedown defenses. And when he shoots on me, let me tell you something. I did not defend the takedown. This boy freaking power trained my rear end up into the air, made me panic, and just slammed me onto my back.
And with that painful note, we have reached the hour mark, and it is time for us to end. So
already,
we were having fun,
and I will hold the next story to next week because that just reminded me of one that.
Even though I was gone for about 30 minutes, but okay.
Yep. Oh, I just remembered the audience never heard your beard story, Tone Chef.
What? What?
Beard.
Remember the first 13 and a half? Yeah.
Find out next time.
Oh yeah, the thing about my beard. Oh yeah, I'll retell that at some point. But for now, yeah, we gotta stop. So, thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning into this episode of Jibber Jabber. We'll see you next time. Keep listening, people. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Pain is bad.